Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book That He's Read This Week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, the book I read this week is one I was really looking forward to. It's called The Last Devil to Die by author Richard Osman, and it's the fourth adventure for the Thursday Murder Club. I'd read the previous three books in the Thursday Murder Club series, really enjoyed them, so I was looking forward to this one. Released last week, 14th of September 2023 as a hardback in the UK. So what's it all about? Well, I guess for those not familiar with the Thursday Murder Club, a bit of background to start. Thursday Murder Club is set in a retirement community in a fictional place called Cooper's Chase in the south of England, where four people, Elizabeth, Ron, Joyce and Ibrahim, meet on a Thursday to review cold cases of which they can add value to. Elizabeth's a former spy, former MI6 operative. Ron's a former trade union activist. Joyce is a former nurse and Ibrahim is a former and continuing to be part-time psychiatrist. In previous books, they've not only looked at cold cases, they've had live cases come towards them. So what's this one about, I hear you say? Well, the format of the book is the usual format. There's the narrative of the mystery story interspersed with Joyce's diary entries, which often contain lots of observational humour and comments on the case as it's going on. So another well-written, well-structured book. So what's the story about this time, I hear you say? Well, it turns out that one of the gang's friends, somebody that helped them in the past, an antiques dealer from Brighton, Kurdesh Sharma, has been murdered. Single bullet through the head, remote woodland spot. By all accounts, it looks like a professional hit. The gang clearly have their interest piqued in this, but they're told to leave it alone. Their local contacts in the local police, Chris and Donna, they've been told to leave it alone because the NCA, the National Crime Agency, the UK's equivalent of the FBI, are involved. Chris and Donna tell the Thursday Murder Club, leave this one alone, don't get involved. But of course, that's like a red rag to a bull, and sure enough, they do get involved. Because it's clearly, if the NCA are involved, there's something going on here. And it turns out that Kurdesh was looking after a box that had been brought into his shop. He was told to pay £50 for it, and were told that the next day somebody would arrive, pick it up and pay him £500. Therefore, he's got £450 for looking after a box for the night. Trouble is, Kurdish is murdered and the box has gone missing. So all of a sudden, we have a whole list of characters that are looking for this box. We have drug dealers that deal with importing drugs, drug dealers that deal with the logistics of distribution of the drugs. We have an art forger, another antiques dealer. There's all sorts of people getting involved looking for this box. So clearly there's something in this box, and the working assumption is, given the NCA's involvement, that it's narcotics. So that's the main story, the main plot. There's also a side plot where one of the other residents at Cooper's Chase, Mervyn, has been involved in a romance scam, romance online fraud, and the gang are trying to help him out with that. We even have a new helper to the gang, a guy called Bob, who they call Computer Bob, who is not actually in the gang yet, but may well be in the future, I guess. And so that's the story. The gang investigates that. It's another fast-moving story, full of humour, and unfortunately, in this one, there's more to this. It's not just a gung-ho murder mystery. It's a very well-written murder mystery, but there's also some sadness closer to home with Elizabeth's husband, Stephen, and that in particular is a very well-written piece. There's also lots of commentary on the fact of old age. What happens at Cooper's Chase? You think it's going to be a tranquil place, but there's people moving in, moving out, people dying, people falling in love, people getting ill. So there's all sorts of going on, and there's lots of commentary in the book on the process of age and how people look at it. There's one interesting line where somebody says, there's three things that go when you get old. Basically, eyes, knees, I thought, oh, wrong way round, I knew I'd cock this up. Knees, eyes and confidence. That in my case, it went the other way. I'm confidence, eyes and knees, but such is life. So, but a very well written and full of heart. So I guess that's it. The review is, I'd give this 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It's 417 pages. I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to know who the bad guys were, who was committing the murder. But also, there's lots of humour in it. But I said it addresses some important issues regarding illness and old age, and very, very deft touch by the author. One of the comments on the back of the book, it says, they ask the writers to give a comment, and Carlin Coben said, full of humour and full of heart. And I think that's a really accurate description. It's a good rattling murder mystery yarn, but it's full of heart and humour. They say the sign of a good book is that, when you can sit down, you can immerse yourself in it and forget about your life for a few minutes, for a few hours. I'd recommend people do that. I give this book 9 out of 10. Best book I've read this year. Really, really enjoyed it. So grab yourself a copy, sit down, immerse yourself in the Thursday Murder Club, and be prepared to enjoy yourself for a few hours reading a really, really good book. So that's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10 till we do it again. Thanks for watching. Bye.